Hi there, I conquered a fear the other day, and my fear was of curved piecing. I'm still here working on this improv houses quilt, and I wanted to try something kind of fun and different for a border that I then later decided I might not use anyway, but I still made it. Ow. And so I filmed a little tutorial while I was at it for curved piecing. I first tried curved piecing years ago. It was a Denise Schmidt quilt pattern, and it was, I think, called Cog and Wheel. Very, very cool quilt. But I made one block and I decided it just took way too long and I never finished it. I never made another block. And I never tried curved piecing again until now. But I did not use templates or any fussy patterns. I just winged it. And I made improv curved pieces. And here's what my little border turned out to look like. Isn't it cool? I think they were so fun, and they were surprisingly a lot faster to batch make than I thought they would be. So I'm gonna show you how I did it. One thing that I forgot to mention in the tutorial part was that the more gradual you make your curve, the more gentle the curve, the easier it is to sew together. If you make a more dramatic curve, like see this one here, it's a little bit trickier. So when you're first starting, maybe make them less sharp, like less angular. This is called a drunkard's path, this arrangement of the quarter circles. So a more technical, non-improv-y one, these edges would all match up, but that was not my goal here. This whole quilt is very improv-y and wonky on the wonky side. So this is a wonky drunkard's path, which I think if we're talking about a drunkard, he would be less perfect anyway, right? I'm Nikki, this is Pin Cut Sew, and this will be just a quick tutorial video to show you how to do this too. So let's get right into it. Okay, like I said, this is not something I had done before, especially in an improv way, but it was actually way easier than I expected it to be. I think the key is, because we're doing them in an improv way, to make them larger and then cut them down. So my finished squares are 3.5 inches, so I'm cutting my white squares 4 inches. So if you want even more wiggle room, you could cut a full inch bigger. Still getting used to this turning mat. I'm not honestly sure if I recommend it. It's like a little bit wobbly, but anyway, I'm gonna use it for a little while longer and then I will review it for you. Okay, so I'm cutting like several whites and then I'll cut several blues also. On my little house quilt, I'm going to make it so that it sort of fades from blue into more sunset colors, but I will of course show you more of that in the video where I finish that quilt. Oh wait, that's the wrong way around. Okay, so you don't need to cut squares out of the blues. I'm obviously still perfecting this concept. You only need to cut the squares out of the background fabrics, the ones that are going to be the convex, right? The convex part. Let's see, let me cut a couple more. Okay, that was better. All right, maybe I do like it. Okay, so I'm going to choose 4 of my backgrounds, and I'm going to make 4 at a time, but I'm also going to chain piece these. Okay, and then I'm going to use my blue fabrics, and I'm going to put my background underneath my blue fabric, and I'm going to overlap it by 1/4 inch. So you do need a right angle on your blue fabric. Wait, is that the right way around? Okay, no. You put your background square on top of your concave fabric, so on top of the blue fabric. And you're going to cut an arc. You don't want to get it too close to the corners. Is that right? Oh my gosh. Yes, that is correct. Okay, I'm just going to cut an arc shape. And so this gets discarded for now. These 2 pieces will get sewn together. And because I overlapped them like that, they are equipped with some seam allowance. So I'm gonna make 4 sets of these. So I have my background, and then it's gonna go on top of my blue piece, leaving 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. I'm gonna try to make them each a little bit different. Okay, discard this, back to the scrap bin. These 2 get paired up. Okay, so now I have 4 sets. We're gonna take them over to the sewing machine. I'm gonna show you how I sew them together. Okay, so you're gonna start with your blue concave piece on the bottom and your white convex inner curve piece on the top. And you're just going to simply, I don't use pins, I don't use glue, I don't press the center mark or anything like that. I'm just going to line the edges up. And then with your fingers, you just contort this outer piece to match the inner piece. Start sewing, adjust when you need to. Because the white piece is cut on the bias, it curves very easily. You're just going to adjust and make your line follow as you go, making sure you're not sewing any little tucks into the seam until you get to the other edge. Let me do the other one similarly. I like to chain piece these. I only make 4 at a time so I don't get bored. Okay, so then it looks like this, and you do have overhang over here. You are supposed to have that. That's why we made them larger, so we could trim it down to size. And now I can simply press them flat. The seam wants to naturally go towards the blue, so that's the way I press it. All right, and now I can go trim them down. Okay, time to trim them down. I'm gonna trim them down to 3.5 inches. So I like to go from this corner because I know it's already 90 degrees. If I was going from this corner, I might trim things too close to the edges, and that would look less like the curves that I'm wanting and more like an angle. Okay, so there's my 3.5 inch wonky curve. You might have to trim all 4 sides on some of them, which is fine if things got kind of distorted when you were sewing, but I still trim this one first and then trim from the other side to 3.5, just a teeny bit to trim off there. So my plan with these is to make them sort of look like clouds, but I will show you there are more ways to arrange these into very interesting blocks. Right after I trim this last one, I think I need a new blade. Have you really used this one lately? So when I first made these, look, this is my first one. It is not perfect. Look, it has tucks and it just didn't really turn out. But after this one, they've all been fine. So I think just 1 or 2 practice rounds. If they don't turn out well, don't worry. It's pretty easy to get the hang of. Okay, so I've been arranging these in sort of a vine because it's somewhat like a border on the quilt that I'm making. So I've been arranging them like so, but they can also be made very cool like this or like this. There's some pretty cool shapes that you could make with these, and you can incorporate these kinds of curves, improv curves, into so many different designs, especially if you're making something like I'm working on right now, that you're just kind of wanting to add some interesting borders to. So this is what I'm going to do for the next border of my quilt, and then you can stay tuned in the next week or 2, hopefully, because I will have that wonky house quilt resource for you, and you can see the progress of my quilt. I hope to have the top done this week. So I've been filming the whole process and I'm excited to share it with you. So yeah, I'll see y'all soon. Bye.